Good day, everybody. Mr. Kilroy here with another presentation. And I hope to blow up a Canadian myth in the process. Why? Because it just doesn't add up. None of the numbers add up. Well, unfortunately, they add up, but not in our favor. Now, what would I be talking about? What myth exactly? Well, I'll get to that in a moment. We in Canada are extraordinarily smug. And we are smug because we have an inferiority complex. Because we live next door to probably the greatest country on the planet, the United States of America. And the greatest pastime of my fellow Canadian is to sling mud at the Americans. We'll forget that without the United States, Canada would be a fraction of its population today. Because whereas the United States is the number one destination spot of anybody wanting to emigrate, Canada would be the number two spot, notwithstanding Syrian refugee crises as it is today. No, we are a very strange bunch. We're it's like I say, it's because of an inferiority complex. We have to be better than the Americans. And we're better at the Americans because we have socialized medicine. We're better than the Americans because we have gun control. We're better than the Americans because our streets are safe and nobody gets shot. Wait, is that true? No, that is the myth. The myth that Canada is the safest choice to live. Our streets are so safe. You are more apt to get mugged in the United States, beaten, robbed, murdered, shot, any horrible thing, because that's America. That's America. That is a crime-infested stinkhole. Well, as you will soon see by my tables and charts that I have dug up at Statistics Canada, and again, I have come across this on so many comment threads here on YouTube, that when I have posted the truth, a lot of people have said, "Oh, BS, that's not possible." Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. I am presenting it today. Now, as for approach, Canada and the United States took two entirely different approaches to the individual. In the United States, they decided that they would allow their citizens to arm themselves. Even have done such studies as Dr. John Lott Jr.'s published work, More Guns, Less Crime. Here in Canada, however, we have taken a completely different approach. We have decided to become the nanny, and no Canadian can defend themselves with a firearm. In fact, in Canada, the government has given every thug, criminal, ne'er-do-well, stick-up man, hold-up man, its personal guarantee that every Canadian is disarmed and defenseless. I know some people are clutching their pearls already, but as you will soon find out, that your perceptions will be challenged. Canada is not the paradise that you think that it is. And as such, I present the Statistics Canada chart. This is showing the overall rate of crime in the raw form before we reduce it to per population of 100,000. I zoom in on the next chart, and here we are in Canada, where our now I use violent rate of crime. Why do I use violent rate of crime? Because it's like a canary in a coal mine. It is telling you the health of your streets. It tells you how safe it is to walk out on these streets. And the reason we express things in numbers of population per 100,000 is so that you can take these numbers and compare them against other numbers of a similar nature. And as you can see, we in Canada have nothing to be smug about. Our overall violent crime rate adjusted for population is 1,062. And as you can see across the Atlantic provinces, that number goes up and down. We move further west, Quebec and Ontario, hey, we actually dip down below the national average in both these provinces. And make no mistake, there are more people living in Ontario and Quebec than mostly the rest of the country. And as you see, our crime rate is just below the national average. As we move into the west, you see it is like a crime wave. It is the virtual Wild West out there. Saskatchewan has a violent crime rate of 2,019 violent criminal acts per population of 100,000. Now for a lot of people, this is very flummoxing. I'll bet you're sitting there absolutely flabbergasted. And I'll bet you're sitting there going, well, if that's what it is in Canada, it's got to be double, 3 times, 4 times the rates. Well, let's take a look at the United States. First up is the FBI's chart. These are violent crimes from 1996 to 2015. As you can plainly see, that the worst year, 1996, doesn't even crack 2015 in Ontario or Prince Edward Island. Consider that. Now, what is their national average as of this rate? As of today? Well, it's 2015 again. Crime stats are always a year or two behind. They're working on 2016 as we speak. 383.2 violent crimes per population of 100,000. OMG. The country that we like to think of as being a crime-ridden stinkhole has a lower violent crime rate than we do. That is impossible. How is that possible, you may ask? Now, if you recall the statistic from Saskatchewan, well, let's see if we can figure out what a comparable city in size. I just picked it randomly. I am going to compare Saskatoon, the capital city of Saskatchewan. No, sorry, it's Regina, which is the capital city of, oh boy, me, Mr. Canadian. I don't even know the capital city of Regina. But here we are. We're going to compare Saskatoon with Richmond, Virginia. And as we see here, the actual rate of violent crime in Saskatoon is 1,331. Now we head on down south to Virginia, which is a shall issue state, also the home to the Virginia Tech Massacre. Oh my gosh, look at that, 236.5. Ladies and gentlemen, we have nothing to be smug about. You are more likely to fall victim to a violent crime in any given major city in Canada than you are in a major city in the state of the United States. The state of Virginia is what I randomly picked. I just went down a list of populations and picked one out that was close to Saskatoon. We have absolutely nothing to be smug about. And looking at another chart, Now this is the homicide survey by method here in Canada. Now it should be noted that we have 604 murders for all of Canada. And yes, as far as homicides go in the United States, they do rank number 4 or number 6, I can't remember which. They do rank near the top of the list. But if you take out the cities of Chicago, Detroit, New York, New Orleans, and Los Angeles, the United States drops down to like number 64. Now, the 5 cities that I named have the strictest gun control laws in the entire United States. They have completely ignored the Second Amendment as far as that goes. Chicago is absolutely nuts. Washington D.C. was even crazier. And Washington D.C. was not only the capital of the United States, but it was a one-time murder capital in the United States. I'm sorry, but I'm seeing both a correlation and possibly a causation with gun control and violent crime. Call me Mr. Silly, but that's just what I'm seeing. And again, in my books, that myth is busted. Sorry, Mythbusters, didn't mean to. And that our silly, inane governments that figure that less guns equals less crime are actually the ones working counterintuitively. There's a simple little fact, and believe me, I've had to argue this with people time and time again. The fact is that no thug, no quote-unquote street tough guy is going to walk up to somebody who might be armed with a firearm, because the whole purpose is to commit the crime and get away with it. And that is rob the person and be done with it. It's kind of hard to do when you have been ventilated. And for the life of me, I will never understand the Canadian Coalition for Gun Control and its belief that it is somehow morally superior for a woman to be lying dead rather than explaining why her would-be assailant has so many holes in him. Can't figure it out. Not for the life of me. So with that, I am going to bid everybody a wonderful day, and I'll leave this to ponder. Please comment, subscribe, and share this video. And with that, it's Mr. Kilroy wishing everybody a wonderful day.